Oh yeah. Hoodie on, hood on, no headphones. You already know I'm on devious and evil timing today. So I just recorded this video, and because I changed my video encoder, OBS would not let me view the video, and every time I tried to watch it, it would tell me that I had to pay 99 cents on the Microsoft Store in order to unlock it. That is the most just absolute horrible thing I've ever heard in my life. And I think that'll be my next video on you know, the big enshittification word. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about how generative AI really cooked my learning whenever I was in school. And because of that, made me the cooked individual I am now. And that led to this whole thing that has happened, right? So like I said, this video is going to kind of be more related to the first two videos that I did, really. And I want to go into how this generative AI thing really just messed my learning up pretty bad, and how I was relying on it for me to be able to build anything, and it got me to the point to where I can't do nothing now. So basically, the generative AI has been a thing for a while, but it really started to take off on my junior year in college. That's when the O1 model of GPT came out, I believe, and it was just going crazy. Everybody was like, this is the best thing ever for programming, right? And it seemed like it was pretty good, but I had started to use it just as like a little, like debugger or something, just to help me out, explain things, things like that, right? And I was using it, and I was just like, oh my God, this makes so much more sense. Like, I'm able to build so many more things now, right? But here we are now, and I can't do anything without it because I relied on it too much. So the whole point of this video is going to be just being aware of the fact that this thing is real and it really can affect your learning. And granted, if you do want to, go with some sort of agentic approach whenever you're building something, I'm not going to sit here and say there's anything wrong with that at all. I'm not going to diss you for using that. But I want to be able to do all this stuff myself. That's the whole point of this whole thing. I want to be able to sit there and build something by myself. And like, if I need to use an agent or something, it'll just be for some simple repetitive task, right? Something that is just simple, right? But I really want to put a big point on, if you want to do all this stuff yourself, that using generative AI to help you out can be very detrimental to your learning and get you to the point that I am today. So if you're in that same boat, please just try to do all the stuff on your own, fail on your own, figure this stuff out yourself, and you will be so far successful in that term compared to if you just use an AI to help you out, right? And, like I said, it can be super helpful, it can explain some important things. That's what I used it mainly for. Was I sitting here in college just uploading stuff back and forth, GPT, whatever, not knowing what it was doing? No, I can say I definitely wasn't doing that. But I used it to a degree to where like it would help me build stuff. And I did that so much that I just, got to a point to where I was relying on it and I couldn't build anything without it. And I would be sitting here like, especially after I graduated, like, dude, I can't build anything. Like, what am I doing? This is horrible. How do I go to the next step of being able to do this stuff myself? So I guess we'll get into that. What am I doing to make sure that I am able to learn all this stuff myself and figure it out? Well, I'm using the resources that Coding Jesus, shout out you, CJ, I appreciate you again. I'm doing a lot of that stuff off stream because I can't do it on stream because, it's paid services and everything. I don't want to leak anything and get in trouble. But at the same time, on stream, I'm starting to get back into the building mindset. And thankfully, I have now a chat and community that is able to help me out whenever I'm doing any of these things and be like, oh, yeah, you could just do this because of this reason. And it's like, oh, that makes so much more sense, right? Instead of me just having to rely on some agent to just explain everything for me and just build everything for me, really. And like I would go in and, just fix all the stuff that it was wrong about, right? And once again, I'm not going to sit here and hate on people that are doing this. I think it's perfectly fine if you want to go that route. That's just not the route that I would want to go. I think I would really like to be able to do all this stuff myself again. I really miss that. And somebody had said in the other day in my stream that like they don't feel anything whenever they use an AI to build, something, they're not sitting there for hours and just being like figuring it out step by step. And then once you're at the end, you understand how everything works. It's so much faster to build something with, an agent, and you are able to just be like, oh yeah, why would I even, try to figure this stuff out on my own? Which is the whole point. That's why I did this thing in the first place, to be able to figure stuff out on my own, because I was super interested in it. I love learning about it. So I really just want to get to a point to where I don't need to use that stuff anymore. So that's why I'm using all the resources I've been given and trying to build stuff on stream again. Just really trying to get back into the mindset of being able to build all this stuff myself and knowing how to build everything myself. I also want to say that, it's like a slow process, right? It's like I'm starting over basically from the foundations up. And yes, I do know these foundational, what's it called? These like little sections and things I should be knowing. I already know it, but I'm going back over it anyway, just to ensure that I really know what I'm doing. And then once I get to the point to where I can build stuff on my own, I have a complete and full understanding of what I'm doing. And I don't have to rely on any agents or anything anymore to be like, okay, I don't know what this is. How do I do this? Help me now. And I really think that if I got to that point, or when I get to that point again, that I will feel much more accomplished as a dev, being able to build stuff completely on my own, the old fashioned way. When I came to my college as a freshman and I did my very first Python course, we didn't use generative AI or anything at all. It was all you go in here yourself, you figure it out, and the professor and TA would help you out if you had any questions, right? And I learned so much and fell in love with the process of working on assignments and projects up until the wee hours of the morning, just to finally get that last piece of the puzzle. I loved that shit so much. I really did. I really want to get back to that point. So earlier, like I mentioned earlier, what are my next steps? What am I doing? Well, like I said, I'm using the resources I've been given off stream to continue my buildup of foundational knowledge and, just ascending, section by section up the ladder at a time, right? And then on stream, I'm beginning to get into building stuff again, just, having the chat help me out, figure stuff out. If I have any questions, instead of going to an AI, I ask the real people that are there that know what they're talking about. They'll be like, oh, do so-and-so. It's like, oh, yeah. Or if it's like explaining some sort of concept, there's people there that will help me out. And I will say, I really can't be thankful enough. This is exactly what I wanted, to have like a little community of people that are showing off their projects in the Discord or hopping on stream to, like suggest something, have fun, and just like help out, just be a general good human. I really love that. And speaking of the stream, this is kind of related, but we hit 1,000 followers on the Twitch. And I can't be thankful enough for y'all. Thank you everybody who dropped by and dropped a follow and everything. I really do appreciate it. But because of this, I think I'm going to do a 24-hour subathon where I have a goal. I try to build something, and then hopefully by the end we have something built. Granted, during this time I'll be, like taking breaks or like getting on the game for a little bit maybe. So it's not going to be a gigantic project that I'm, setting myself up for here. It's going to be something like, doable that I'm able to learn from, and everybody else can watch me fail forward at building. I think that would be super, super fun of an experience and a super good learning experience for me and for everybody who's like me, who wants to, pop up and watch. So we're still going to be planning that out. I think it's going to probably be sometime next week, maybe this weekend. Who knows? I will let y'all know and I'll keep y'all updated as we go. But, I think, just continuing to, go about the learning process and build stuff on stream is going to be something super helpful for me. And once again, I can't thank y'all enough who are stopping by and everything. Going to continue to be live like pretty much every day and just like, building stuff, learning, just ascending the ladder however I can. But the whole point of this video is me going from being self-cooked by using this generative AI to just help me build stuff to getting to a point to where I can build this stuff again on my own, and I don't need to rely on any generative AI, because it really messed up my learning so bad. I wouldn't be spending there hours anymore just trying to figure stuff out. I would just be able to get, easy, answers about, whatever I was asking. And maybe it was wrong, and then I would have to go in and fix it myself. But it was worse if it wasn't wrong, and I just got the answer, and I was like, oh, okay, because maybe I didn't fully understand, what I was getting, and I was just doing it just to, turn stuff in. Which, granted, I said earlier I wasn't doing that as much, thankfully, but I mean, I could have very well at some point just been doing that. Who knows, right? I should know, but all I can think about is the fact that I want to get better. So that's what I'm gonna do. Like I said, using my resources that I've gotten off stream, the ones that I can't stream, to just continue to study and learn and everything. And then on top of that, doing stuff on stream that I can do, like beginning to build things like, a little Twitch bot for, my chat, in Python. And then I want to build it again in C++ just to get like a better understanding of both the languages. And then just going from there, just figuring stuff out. So yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for this one. It's a shame that OBS didn't let me use the other thing that I recorded, but that's why we record again, just get the same message out. But I want to leave y'all with this. If you're like me, if you really want to get good on your own and not have to rely on these models, you need to get in and get started and do the stuff on your own and fail on your own and get frustrated and then figure everything out step by step. And then you just keep doing that over and over again, the old-fashioned way, and then you'll figure it out and you'll just get better. And that's what I'm really going to do my best to do. So thank you everybody so much for watching. Like I said, we're going to be live on Twitch and YouTube every single day. Subathon stream where we're building something's coming soon. Give me suggestions in the comments of what you think I should, build something that would be, like fun and I'd be able to learn from, whether it's Python or C++. I'm just trying to build something. I'm going to be trying to figure that out on stream today as well. So come drop by if you want to see that. And that's going to do it for this video. I'll be uploading another one in like the next 2 days. Like I said, the new YouTube schedule is going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, I think. And also for all my game stuff, I think I'm hiring a friend of mine to edit some videos for that, just for more fun type content on another channel, which I'm going to link in the description, Henny118. So if you're interested in that, go check it out. But thank you everybody so much for watching. I really do appreciate everybody who wants to, interact and comment and like and just even watch the video. It means a lot more than you know. And I'll be back again tomorrow and today on stream. So thank you so much, and I'll see you then.